In these unprecedented times, the concern of every business person is how to generate sustainable wealth. Mr. Steve Jenkins is going to tell us, he's going to inform us, he's going to educate us on how to generate sustainable wealth, how to optimize our resources during this global pandemic. Great joy. It is my honor, it is my privilege to welcome our special guest, Mr. Steve Jenkins, the Sales Director, Genster UK, to share lessons from Genster and how we can solve problems and income follows us. Thank you. Over to you, Steve.
Well, thank you, Salape. Really, really appreciate those kind words. And truly, it is an honor to talk here today to so many esteemed people. And I'm actually calling from London, UK. I hope you can hear me okay. Can you hear me okay? Give me a thumbs up, somebody. Yeah, very good. Thank you, Thelma. Really appreciate that. Isn't it amazing, modern technology? We can actually speak across continents like this in different time zones. I mean, wow, it's incredible. I really have got an amazing feeling running through my body right now that we're about to change lives. And it's a kind of buzz of energy that's just going through me that's kind of just, well, I'm just tingling here at listening to the few speakers we've had so far, but with great anticipation of what's going to happen over the next few hours. And I'm here to just give my little bit. And I've been in the financial industry for 33 years. Now, you're probably looking at the screen now very closely and going, man, you must have started when you were 6 then. Okay, I know that's not the case. I've got a bit of gray. I actually started when I was 22, so now you can work my age out. I'm 56 in a couple of weeks' time. Now you're thinking, wow, you look good for your age. Maybe not. Let's move off from my age. But I want you to know that I grew up poor. I was born in a place in the UK called South Wales, in a little very small town, and went through some terrible poverty. In the 1970s, at that time in the UK, most of the traditional industries were closed down. So my father was a steel worker in an industry that no longer really exists in the UK. My mother was a nurse, and we went through something in the 1970s called the Winter of Discontent. You might want to Google it if you're that sad and that interested to find out a little bit more about it. But in 1979, we had minus 25-degree weather. Every industry was on strike, so there was no water, there was no electricity, which means, you know, I talked to my children about this, and they went, "What? There was no TV?" Absolutely, for about a month there was no TV. We had no food. My family went without food for the best part of 2 weeks. And I always remember this story as a key moment in my life, where my mother went to what we call the butchers to get some meat, and obviously couldn't afford to buy any. They didn't have any anyway, but she did manage to get some bones. And her embarrassment caused her to say, "They're for the dog." And that wasn't true, because we didn't have a dog at that point. But she brought the bones home and made some broth with that. And I remember my younger brother and I trying to drink this foul-tasting soup that we nicknamed Devil's Soup. And it's kind of like a family story, which we all laugh about now. But it was the key moment in my life where I decided I was going to change my family tree and do something different. So the family that I grew up in certainly had no financial education. You know, I failed at school and haven't got a qualification to my name. I had to go to work at 14 years of age to help provide for my family. And I then, you know, had to go and find myself a job. And I responded to a bit of a crazy advert and met this amazing Irishman when I was 22 years of age. And he kind of took me under his wing, and he started to mentor me on how the financial industry worked. And it worked out for me. You know, I made my first £1 million by the time I was 30 years of age, started a company with a few other people. We floated it on the stock market, and I became financially independent. But I became disgruntled. and dissatisfied with the financial industry, and all those movies that you watch about corrupt individuals, well, they're true. If you want to watch a real live kind of situation that did happen, watch a film called The Long Short. It'll tell you everything that happens in that film is accurate. I witnessed some of it, and it's been disgraceful, the greed that the financial industry and the governments to a certain extent that have been involved in that. But I don't want to all of a sudden become political. That's not what I'm here today. So I came to an impasse in my life, and I met a guy called Bob. And Bob is an American guy, very successful and wealthy. And he introduced me to two things. Those two things changed my life. He introduced me to financial education for the masses. And he also introduced me to the most important changing moment in my life, and that was God. And from that moment onwards, I realized that my life purpose was to teach financial education with God's guidance to help as many people as possible get out of debt, stay out of debt, and become financially free. And I've helped hundreds of thousands of people now throughout my career do exactly that across the UK. And my new life purpose, which has been spoken to me recently, is to help every family across the globe. The most amazing thing that's happened with this pandemic is that communication now has made things that seemed impossible possible. Today's event proves that. I no longer have to get in my car and go and visit a client and teach them financial education. I no longer have to stay overnight when it's more than 2 hours drive away. I no longer have to leave my house to deliver that financial education just here in the UK. And now the army of financial educators I've got are now teaching this across the world. And it's amazing the difference that it makes to families, not only now, but the legacy that it leaves for the children and the children's children. And I just want to share with you a few things, but I want to be a little bit controversial to start with, if you like, and maybe even challenge your mindset a little bit by making a statement that, do you realize there is something that God can't do? And there are some things that God won't do. First of all, what is the one thing God can't do? Well, if you read Malachi 3, verse 6, you'll understand that God can't get any better because he's perfect. It states that right there. But there are also things that God won't do. There are certain things he won't do for us. He won't brush our teeth for us. He won't comb our hair. That is why he gave us a brain. And he told Adam, take dominion of your life. Yeah, which basically means that Adam had to take responsibility for good stewardship, which includes finances and other resources. There are 2,500 verses in the Bible about money and finance. It's the best book ever written on the subject of money. 60% of the parables that Jesus teaches us are money related. In Ecclesiastes 10 to 19, it says you can have all the wisdom in the world, but if you have no money, you have no influence. Yeah. God wants to see how we handle a little amount before he blesses us with a large amount. Okay. And the financial freedom course that my company Genistar and I have developed is based on biblical principles. In fact, we teach it at many churches around the UK, and now we've done these financial freedom courses across Europe. A few weeks ago, I was teaching a church in Finland. I've never even been to Finland. Okay, Australia, we're having people come onto our courses from the furthest part away from where we are in the UK. Okay, my own church is a church you may have heard of called Hillsong. That's born and developed in Australia, but now is a worldwide church and is in Africa. And I've taught this financial education to many thousands of people, tens of thousands of people in Hillsong Church. And we give this financial freedom course away free of charge. Okay, we're not there to gain anything. other than spread this financial education. And I want to encourage you, whatever, as the previous speaker said, whatever the problem is, if you can find a solution, you've now found an opportunity. Okay? If you can fix a problem, you have found a business opportunity. You have found a God-given opportunity. Financial education is required worldwide. It's even in a country like the United Kingdom. Yeah, there are tens of millions of people in debt. Only 5% of people in the UK, can you believe that, end up becoming financially independent? 5%. The other 95% are either still working in their mid-60s and early 70s, or they're just broke. That's crazy in one of the richest nations in the world. So in my lifetime, we're never going to be able to help everybody. However, technology is changing things. I would never have dreamt that I'd be speaking to people across continents, you know, from America and Africa and others, I'm sure, and Europe, obviously, in just one conversation. So with God, everything is possible. And I want to finish on this. Every church is built on families with strong finances. Every town and city is built on families with strong finances. You know, there's a town in Ohio the name of it escapes me. Warren Buffett grew up in that town, who's one of the richest men in the world. And because of his influence and because of his impact in that local community, when he became, first of all, a multi-millionaire, he's now a multi-billionaire, those families invested in what he said should be invested in. And it became a very affluent town, and still is to this day, even though he no longer lives there and hasn't for many decades. You know, every community is built on families with strong finances. They need financial education. And if we can help enough communities, we can help a country. And if we can help enough countries, we can help enough continents. And there aren't too many continents on the planet. And I know that we can help all those. And that's my mission. That's my purpose. And I wanted to share that with you. And I want to encourage you, whatever solution you've got to people's problems, you can make a big difference too. And I want to leave with a gift that I want to share with you today. It's a book, and I'm just going to try and make some technology work for me here. There's the button. Just bear with me a second. Oh, didn't go right the first time. Yeah, it was right actually. If I press the share button, it should come up. No, maybe not. Okay. Oh, there we go. All right, just want to share this. There you go. So this is a book called Your Journey to Financial Freedom. It teaches debt freedom, mortgage acceleration, smart investing, and a few other things. Okay. And if you have an interest and you want to get hold of that, let me know via the chat message. I'll give you my PA's email address, and you can have that on me. It's free, no strings attached. I can't do business in any other country than the UK anyway. That's not our intention. Our intention is to give the financial education away and to impact as many families as we can, so we can help the community, so we can help the country, and ultimately the continents across the world. So thank you very much, Salape. Back over to you.
Well, Steve, just here now, because you know I'm African. You can tell an African by, if you give them a plate of food, they're going to ask for another one. So how can we tap into this financial freedom? Are we going to be able to partner with Genstar to bring this financial freedom to our God's entrepreneurs? Because I don't know anybody who's got enough money. I think even if we all were Dangote's here, Dangote is still working. He's still making more money. So I don't think there's anybody here who doesn't need this financial freedom. How can we do this? Is this a conversation we're going to be able to have with you to partner with God's entrepreneurs, and we can really, really get people out of the shackles of poverty that have, you know, just held them in bondage for centuries? that's a conversation I'm going to have with you backstage, because I'm going to ask for more things as well.
No problem. That's my purpose. That's what I'm going to do before I leave this planet. And if you can help, great. And, you know, as I said earlier, I can't do any business in other continents. We're not regulated or licensed to do that. And I don't need any more. I just want everybody to get the education. And I want it to be, we're teaching children as young as 5 how to handle money properly. Because when you bring up a child the right way, from there they don't depart, as the Bible says. So yeah, let's chat. I want to share with as many people as possible.
You know, Steve said something. The key moment was when he was drinking the devil's soup. But look at how the devil's soup has translated into kingdom business. He had a dream. At 20 years old, $1 million. Not bad for a start. If I started with $1 million at 20 years old, hey, I don't know what would become of me. But, you know, God has given him this calling, this purpose, introducing financial education for the masses. What a combo. He teaches that, and he teaches that with a God factor. Get out of debt, stay out of debt, get financially free. I don't know anyone on this summit who would say, oh, that's not a good proposition. Just taking on from what Bishop Febb said earlier, solve a problem, get financially educated, legacy, succession plans. When you have no money, you have no influence. You can be carrying the Bible with your worn out shoes. You have no influence. We're here not to do church. We're here to teach kingdom principles. Fix a problem. You found an opportunity. So before I go on to the next session, I want you to hold this thought. Steve said that families with strong finances help a community, help a nation. He's going to have this conversation with us, and we're going to discuss how we're going to bring this financial freedom to our community.